Dear students, in this video we are going to see the concept of dynamic method dispatch. So dynamic method dispatch is mainly related with method overriding, so which is used to perform runtime polymorphism. So to understand about method overriding, so we'll consider there is a base class called as animal, which is having a method called as eat. And there are two derived class. One is called as dog and another one is cat. So depends upon the feature of dog. So the eating implementation will be different for dog. So it will be eating bread. And depends upon the cat, the eating methodology will be different. So it will be eating rat. So by creating the object for the derived class, when you create the object for the derived class and try to access with the eat method, okay, so this eat will invoke the eating methodology of the dog. So the implementation will be overridden by the derived class from the base class. So the derived class overriding the implementation of the base class. So to work with dynamic method dispatch, first we have to create the base class reference. Next we have to assign the derived class object to the base class reference. And next we have to invoke the overridden method through the base class reference. So we'll see. So first we have to create the base class reference. After creating that, the base class reference is going to hold the derived class object. So next we have to invoke the overridden method using the base class reference. So when I am using a.eat. So during the runtime, okay, so this a.reference is pointing to this base class reference is pointing to the object of the derived class. So using this base class reference, we are accessing the eat method of the derived class. Okay, so which method to be overridden, to be invoked, so which method this base class reference is going to invoke, that will be resolved during the runtime. So if I assign a equal to new cat, okay, so a.eat, so during the runtime, now a is holding the reference for the cat object, so now it will invoke the eat method of the cat object. So depends upon which object the base class reference is holding, so that will be resolved during the runtime. So during the runtime you can able to know that the reference A is holding to which derived class object. Okay, so now I have given a problem called as vehicle. So vehicle is my base class and it has a property of fuel name and price, and it has a method called as calculate price. Okay, so along with that it having a constructor also. So these are the things available in my base class vehicle. And now by reading the question, based on the class vehicle, the following table define two subclass. So I have a bus class and bike class. So bus is one derived class, bike is another one derived class. So this will tell you how the hierarchical inheritance. So one base class and two derived class. So here in the derived class I am going to override the calculate price. So this derived class having extra property. First property is called as litter and the second property is called as tax, and it has a overridden method, that is calculate price. And this will provide the logic how to do the calculation in the bus class. And if you consider with the subclass of bike class having only one extra property, which is litter, and this also doing the calculate price function, which is overridden, and this is the logic we are going to implement it in the calculated price. So each derived class object have its own implementation which is overridden from the base class. Okay, and here automatically this f name and price is inherited to the derived class based on the inheritance property. The properties of base class is inherited to the derived class. So now we will move to the Java code to implement this. So now we are in the Eclipse environment. So we are going to see how to code this, develop this application using the dynamic method dispatch. Okay. So here already based on the code given. So this is my base class and these are the properties and this is the base class constructor and this is the method to be overridden. Okay, and we'll see what is the use of this function at the end. So now we need to create hierarchical inheritance. So we need to create two derived classes. The first derived class is bus, with this extends from vehicle, and the second derived class is bike, which also extends from vehicle. Okay, so two derived classes are ready. Now we have to add the property. So the properties, so we have the how many liter and followed by tax. So two additional properties. And for bike class we have only one additional property, that is liter. Additional property. Okay, so next we have to override the method calculate price. Okay, so I'm going to write the calculate price public double calculate price. So the logic to be implemented is liter into price less tax. So after calculating it, I have to use the return keyword. Use the return keyword to return the result because here the return type is double. So like that, I will copy this code and then I'm going to do the method overriding for the bike class. So only the calculation is differ here. So here we don't have tax. So only liter into price. Okay. So method overriding. So here also I have method overriding. Okay. So now I need to create a constructor for the derived classes. So in my question it is given use the superclass keyword to initialize the constructor of my base class, that is my vehicle class, from the derived class. Okay. So now I have to create a constructor for my derived class. Through my constructor I need to invoke the constructor of my base class. So I know that my derived class needs two properties. My base class needs again two properties. So my derived class constructor needs four properties. Okay. So the first property is fuel name. The second property is price of the fuel. And the third property is liter. And the fourth property is tax. So all the four properties needed for my bus class when I create the object for my derived class bus. So through my derived class, I need to initialize my base class. The base class is vehicle. So to invoke my base class constructor through the derived class, I have to use the keyword called as super. So using the super keyword, I am passing the attributes to my base class. That is, these two are the attributes for my base class. So by using the super keyword, so when I invoke this super keyword, it will go here to the base class constructor, that is the immediate super class of the derived class, and invoke the constructor of the super class. After executing it, so I have to assign, so liter equal to L and tax equal to T. Okay, so now my derived class constructor for the bus class is ready, which internally invoking my base class vehicle using the super keyword. So like that I have to write the constructor for my next derived class bike. So public bike. So now you need bike class need one property and the base class needs two properties. So totally three properties I have to pass to my derived class bike. So string fuel name, then double price and then double liter. So these first two properties belong to the base class. So use the super keyword, pass the first two properties to the base class and the last property is assigned to the liter. Okay, so now this is over. Use the super keyword to initialize the constructor of the vehicle class from the derived class. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to apply the dynamic method dispatch concept. So now the basic construct of the program is ready. Hierarchical inheritance, base class is vehicle, two derived class, one is bus and another one is bike, and we have implemented the constructor to invoke the base class constructor using super keyword, and we implemented the method overriding concept also. So now I am going to the main program. So I need to implement the dynamic method dispatch. Okay, so as I already told, there are three steps you have to follow. First step is creating the base class reference. Second step is assigning the derived class object to the base class reference. Third step is using the base class reference, invoking the method to be overridden. So I am going to follow the step 1. Okay, step 1, I need to create the base class reference. The question it is told you have to declare an array of 4 vehicle class reference. Okay, so 2 for bus and 2 for bike. Okay, so first step is you have to create the base class reference. So for here I need to create array of 4 base class reference. So my base class is vehicle. I need to create an array of reference. So vehicle V is equal to new vehicle of 4, because I need to create array of 4 base class reference. So base class reference, because this new keyword now create only an array. Okay, so 4 array elements are now allotted. So you can see here how it will be. So I have a reference vehicle V, which containing only the reference. So 1, 2 and 3 array of vehicle class references created. Okay, so now we are moving to the step 2. So step 2 is assigning the derived class object to the base class reference. So for in that question it is given for 2 base class reference you assign the derived class bus. The other 2 base class reference you have to assign the derived class bike. So I am going to give V of 0. Okay, V of 0 equal to new bus. Okay, so now I already know that I need to pass the argument to the constructor. So either you get input through scanner class and pass it. Okay, so you can get input through scanner and pass it, but now for experiment purpose I am directly giving the value. So my bus constructor need how many arguments? 4 arguments. Okay, so what are the 4 arguments? First one is the fuel, second one is the price. Okay, the next one is the how much liter it is used. Okay, the liter I have given 25. The tax I am including, okay, some tax value. So now assign derived class object to base class reference. It's ready. Okay, so first object reference is ready. So like that I have to create the next object reference for my base class. that also going to hold the bus class. Okay, so here this is also diesel. Then the amount is 69.54, number of liter is 20, and then I have the value is some tax value. Okay, so two reference object of bus derived class is created, and again I have to create two references for the bike derived class. So equal to new bike. So as I know already, bike class having three arguments. So first one is the fuel type. So I'm going to give petrol, and the cost of the petrol I'm going to give, and followed by the number of liters used. Okay, so this reference I'm going to create for the bike derived class. So this is for bike derived class. So now B3 also pointing to the new bike petrol. So I am going to give the cost 79.68 and the number of liter is 3. Okay, so or I can put 3.5 liters. Okay, so two bus class derived object is assigned to the base class reference. Two bike class derived object is assigned to the base class reference. So you see here we are having bus class, so that containing the reference in the here, and again I have a bus class, that is the reference, and then this point to bike class, and this is pointing to bike class. Okay, two references for bus and two references for bike class. And what is the next step? The next step I want to implement is display the total fuel price calculation. Okay, so if I want to get the price value of any one type of derived class, then what I have to do? So I will do with double D is equal to, so I want to calculate the first bus class total price. So I have to use V of 0 dot calculate price. So what it will do? It will invoke the calculate price method of the object reference which is pointing to the bus class, because V of 0 is pointing to the object class bus. So the bus class calculate price will be invoked. So now only your dynamic method dispatch coming into the role, and it is trying to invoke the calculate price method of bus class. So during the runtime, whichever derived class object you chose, based on that your base class reference will invoke the method overridden in that particular derived class. So if I want to print it, I will print the cost is. Okay, the cost is, I am printing the cost is D. Okay, so I am taking only the first bus class which is assigned to your base class reference V0. So now we'll run the program. Okay, we are getting the cost is. Okay, here you calculate the 69.54 into 25 plus this logic is implemented, so you got the value. And now according to my question, I have to display the total fuel price of all type of vehicles. Okay, so I need to initialize one total variable. So total equal to 0. And I need to get all. So I am using the for loop for int I equal to 0, I less than 4, because I have 4 reference, 4 I plus plus. Okay, so for every object reference I need to calculate what is the cost. So in order to use every object reference, V of I. So V of 0, V of 1, V of 2, V of 3. So each object individually, and then I have to calculate the calculate price of each. So it will take the individual object reference method overridden in the derived class it is taking. So first time it will take the bus class, next time it will take the calculate price of the bus class, third time it will take the calculate price of the bike class, and the fourth time it will take the calculate price of the bike class. So based on that it will calculate all the things and the total is added here. Okay, so I am adding the total to the, so my total variable is total. So total variable I have added here. So finally I am going to enter S out the total fuel cost, because that is only asked in my question. So total fuel cost. So I am entering the total. So now we run the program. So running the program, we are getting the total fuel cost. Okay. Now we are going to the next. The next is display the total fuel price, the fuel calculation for bus alone. Okay. So I know that in my object reference only the first two references are pointing to the bus. So what I will do? So I need to do only for bus. So I don't need to move for all the things. I need to only take I equal to 0 and 1, because 0 and 1 only having the reference for the bus derived class. So I am taking only the reference of 0 and 1. Again I am making the total to be 0, and for v of 0, v of 1 I am calculating the price, getting the total. So now I can able to display the total fuel cost for bus. Okay, total fuel cost for bus alone. So when you run it, you will get the answer, the total fuel cost for bus. So calculating this thing added with this thing, both the total. And what is the third thing? Third thing is display the information for the vehicle that has spent highest fuel price. So I need to calculate what is the highest fuel price. So in order to do that, I am making one variable double maximum equal to 0. Okay, maximum equal to 0. Then for every variable I have to calculate the price of the fuel. For every object I have to calculate I equal to 0, I less than 4, I plus plus. Okay, now I have to calculate the price for the first object. Vi dot calculate price. Now I have to check if the D value is greater than maximum, because I have initialized maximum is 0. So if the D value is maximum of 0, I have to calculate, I have to assign that is the maximum value. Okay, so this will be comparing to every object. Then which object having the maximum fuel cost, so that will be displayed, that will be stored in the maximum. So now I am going to write S out, and I am going to write the maximum fuel cost. Okay, maximum fuel cost. So that fuel cost is max, the maximum fuel cost. So now I run it and check it. So the maximum fuel cost also I got it. Okay, so I want to know which object having the maximum fuel cost. So in order to do that, I am going to display all the objects with its fuel name, price and the cost. Okay, so what I am going to do is for int I equal to 0, I less than 4, I plus plus. Okay, so every object I want to print it. So I am going to print S out, the first object. Okay, the first object and the corresponding cost. First object and the corresponding cost. So like that I am going to print for all the object, all the 4 object. I am going to display what is that object and what is the corresponding fuel price for that. So now you run the program. Okay, so you got it. So diesel, this is our cost and this is the cost calculated according to the formula in the method overriding. Next object diesel, third object petrol and the fourth object is also petrol. So now you compare all the 4 values. The first diesel bus object having the highest maximum value, that only we have calculated here. Okay, so now we'll see what is the use of this statement. What is the use of this string to string method. Okay, so this is generally coming from the object class. So it makes the object in a human readable format. This makes the object in a human readable format. How it will be? Just I will hide it first. Okay, just I will hide this. Just I will hide this. And now I am executing it. Okay, so do you know the changes here? Previously it is displayed fuel name followed by price, but now it is displaying only the class name followed by some unreadable format. Class name followed by some unreadable format, because objects are generally not in the human readable format. Okay, so if I want to make it human readable format, you have to override this toString method. Actually this method is already available in object class. You know that all classes are inherited from the object class. So we are overriding this method. Okay, overriding this toString method to make the object in the human readable format. That's why when I print this v of I, it is displaying in a human readable format. That is, it is displaying with the information what is the fuel name and followed by the cost. Okay, so I think now you got a clear idea how to use with dynamic method dispatch with the method overriding. Okay, so during the runtime only we are deciding or the system will identify the base class references pointing to which derived class object. So based on that, it will take the particular overridden method and it is resolving the runtime polymorphism. Okay, so it is resolving which method to be invoked. So that will be resolved during the runtime. So that's why it is called as dynamic method dispatch. Thank you.